Campbell.
And I'm Ron Jackson.
Cerebral conversations on disability liberation and integration. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cerebral Conversations, episode 19. This is Cerebral Conversations, conversations on disability liberation and integration. I'm CJ Campbell.
And I'm Ron Jackson.
Ron, let's get
Cerebral.
boom. So, it is World Cerebral Palsy Day.
Yes.
So everybody lift a palsied hand in the air. Woo! Do you feel appreciated as someone with cerebral palsy?
I do, even though I just learned that we even had a World Appreciation Day. But I'm glad to know that we do.
Well, I'll be honest. I think it's kind of BS.
I think so.
Okay.
But we gotta keep it PC, you know.
So, tell me about your week. What's been going on?
My week was rather interesting because I went on my second job interview to try to find a job through agency, and it was rather frustrating. They kept asking me about my father and how I felt about my parents not being around, and it really had nothing to do with my actual job skills.
You don't feel appreciated for your skills?
No, I didn't.
That's weird. You would think a government agency would really care.
I felt like it was a psychological profile rather than a interview to try to place me in a job.
Yeah. Well, now the government shut down.
Yes.
So maybe they can take some time to think about what they've done.
Take some time to think about it, people.
Yeah. So anything else going on?
Not really.
Well, I gotta be honest with you. I'm feeling a bit of frustration.
Okay.
What's keeping me going is the fact that my girlfriend, the lovely Alicia, will be here.
Yes, we will get to meet the apple of your eye, so to speak.
As the incorrigible alfalfa once said, "You are so beautiful to me,
Duh!
dear Darla." Well, I'm dealing with some frustrations too, so I'm going to take a few, probably minutes because I'm long-winded.
Go ahead.
Would you mind setting up my soapbox? Boom! Well, here's the deal. So, there is a lot of rhetoric and talk about those of us on Social Security, those of us that supposedly don't want to work, those of us that are essentially the cancerous growth on the scrotum of society.
Yes.
And I know that probably this will go unnoticed, but maybe the hope is that on the off chance it might end up on Upworthy, or it just people might listen, or at the very least, the dozens of you that watch this show who are our crippled brothers and sisters or able-bodied brothers and sisters may either feel a bit encouraged or may have a bit of an awakening. Here's the deal. Every week since I've been on SSI, I've had people talking to me about everything that's wrong, and they feel that they have the intrinsic right to tell me what I should be doing, what I'm not doing right. I mean, I've literally had people butt in on conversations in public, like strangers I don't know. Uh, and then I also have people in my life that constantly talk to me. Well, it's too bad you can't get a part-time job. It's too bad you can't get a part-time job. It's really bad that you can't get a part-time job. And then if I explain to them the barriers between getting even part-time employment to be not a sustainable value. I mean, because most likely, I would, I would work to just go to work because I would end up losing more of an income, more stability than before. And especially with all of this political rhetoric going on right now, and usually with Cerebral Conversations, I try to keep my political views to a minimum. Uh, I feel like this one I can't let go by because it directly affects crippled brothers and sisters, especially. I think people need to realize that when they talk about poverty, when they talk about those in poverty, when they talk about those on SSI, what you're really talking about is you're talking about those deemed disabled and mostly the elderly. Yes, there are a small contingent that take advantage, but by you advocating for the removal of benefits, really what you do is you put more of a burden on us. You put more of a burden on us, and most likely the people that you really want to punish don't get punished. Another thing is that we often talk about this idea of fairness and why should able-bodied working people pay for these things? Well, if you don't want to pay for those things, then I suggest that you start working on a system that systematically works against us from having jobs. Most crippled brothers and sisters I know are desperately, desperately trying to seek to get off of SSI. Because we want basic human rights and basic things. I want to get married and be able to live with my able-bodied girlfriend and not be in poverty. I want to be able to go after my dreams and work hard because I am a hard worker. And just because I don't get paid for the work that I do, that doesn't mean that it's any less valuable. I've seen for far too long people get degraded because somebody else gets to deem their value. And that even goes beyond the whole talk of disability. The fact of the matter is that if we want this country to be any better, if we want this imaginary border that we call the United States of America to be any better, then we have to work collectively. But instead we want to get into left and right political ideologies. Instead we want to talk about how everyone else is doing it wrong. And we don't want to change. We don't want to even assume that things in life may be a bit unfair and we can do something about it. There's a lot of people that want to believe that just because they get up that somehow that they deserve more credit. Well, I gotta tell you that sometimes getting out of bed takes more energy than it probably takes you in your entire day of work. And I'm tired of the crap talk that degrades people like me, people like Ron, people that actually work really hard at what we do. So, if anyone's watching this that really feels like either they're devalued as a human being because they don't have work that brings them a paycheck, know that it's not true. Keep fighting, keep working. If there's any able-bodied brothers and sisters out there, we need you to start getting up and fighting with us. They're going after our basic human stability. They're going after what lives we do have, and we need your help.
We can't do it alone.
Yeah. And if there's anyone watching this that wants to talk about how things are unfair, how there's people that don't want to work, do me a favor. Then work to fix a system that keeps us from working. Stop taking our incomes away. Stop making it harder for us to live. Truth of the matter is that I cried. I cried at 1:30 a.m. October 1st because I didn't think I was going to make it, and I was so happy that I made it.
Right.
And that's something that I hear a lot. Every month is a struggle, and there's some months that I have to choose between going to the grocery store or paying bills so I can put something away. So, if you want things to be different, stop making us the villains and start doing something. Start working towards getting out of your own ideological box. Stop telling us to get jobs and start working with us so that we can go after jobs. There's a thing called discrimination, and it's real. And I'm willing to work hard, but are you willing to work hard with me? Okay.
We only want a fair shot. That's all we ask.
Yeah, so now we'll get to more fun things.
Yes.
Sorry. I felt the need to soapbox, and probably that's because I haven't slept in 3 days.
No need to be sorry, my friend.
Alright, so we're talking about love, sex, and dating. We're starting a new series, and we're basically just spending this show talking about our experiences to start off, because, well, we can't really talk about anybody else's experiences. So, why don't you tell me about your first crush?
My first crush was actually in kindergarten.
Dang,
I started early.
Started early.
Her name was Summer, and I remember I told my mom to go pick the flowers out of the yard, which I later learned were dandelions, so I could give them to Summer. And I also remember giving her my coat, which throughout my childhood was something I did quite often, honestly, because I really don't see a need for a coat. But that's a different story.
Okay, so you had this crush
Yes.
in kindergarten.
Yes.
And then, who was your first girlfriend and what was that like?
My first girlfriend was a girl named Amanda in 3rd grade, and that was pretty awesome because it was really the first time that I really felt like I was normal and could attract a girl or have feelings of liking someone without being awkward about it.
So, how old were you?
I was 9.
You had this complex of thoughts in 3rd grade?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so, but what was your first actual, serious relationship?
My first serious relationship didn't happen till high school, and I was with that girl for 3 years.
And was she able-bodied?
Yes. She was a cheerleader at Guilford, and that was interesting because we were both going through difficult problems at home, but we found common ground in the fact that we both liked sports. She was into gymnastics, and I was helping with Power Puff and things. So we would see each other during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Dating was difficult due to the transportation issues that I had, but we managed to work around that.
And so now, as an adult, what has dating been like for you?
dating's been pretty hard because all I seem to fall into is this pattern of emotion ships where I meet people online or in chat rooms or on different websites, and it never goes anywhere because they feel like either they don't want to pursue the relationship for financial reasons, or they find someone else that they're more compatible with. So it's definitely difficult
Yeah,
as an adult.
I think that's really common. I mean, that's something that I've also run into. Um, I remember my first crush was in third grade, and it was a girl named Christy Vandenbroek, and she was really pretty. And the reason that I liked her is she liked the the group TLC, and so we would talk about that a lot. Um, and I remember asking her to dance at the first dance I ever went to, which was put on by our school's DARE program, and she said no.
Oh,
Yeah, she was embarrassed. Me, me and my best friends both like asked our crushes to dance, and that just didn't happen. Plus, the dance never had any slow dances, so probably wouldn't have worked out anyways.
there's always T-bars. Don't worry about the
Oh
singing.
man, did I have a crush on T-Buzz? That's not. Um, and I had a really weird understanding of dating too. That was way too mature, and I think a lot of it just had to do is I just watched a lot of TV, and I watched a lot of MTV as a kid. I remember waking up when I was about 8 years old, so it was about around the same time I developed a crush for Chrissy Brandenbrook. It was during the summer, and I was like, man, I really need to get my life together. I need to like get a girlfriend. So I remember like I started wearing dress clothes for a few weeks and just like going around my neighborhood and trying to do nice things for girls. Like I would just like open up doors that didn't need to be opened. And, like opening this door for you. Um, and I kind of had this idea of getting married and having kids in this very romanticized, idealized way. And it really affected a lot of my emotional growth as a kid. Um, I think a lot of it just had to do is what you were talking about is not that that would validate me as normal. I think also just growing up as a kid, coming from a single parent home, uh, I just really craved stability. I craved attention, and I wasn't really getting that at home because my mom worked like 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have my first girlfriend when I was 16, and man, I really wish that I would have had like an older father figure in my life because it was not a good thing. She was a little bit older than me and way more, let's just say, experienced in things, and I wasn't prepared. Like I think that sometimes when kids are growing up, that like certain boys and certain girls should just have warning labels on them that says, "Dear other boy or other girl or whatever, you know, dear person that's thinking about dating this person, they are going to break your heart and cause major harm to your future ideas about love and healthy things." Um, because through some things and through this person kind of letting them into very intimate parts of my life, they told me my body was disgusting, and that's what started the whole process with um, my battle with anorexia that I've battled for the last 10 years, and I don't think that she's fully to blame. I think there was a lot of other factors, but I don't think that I would struggle as much with body image if I never got into that relationship. And so I had this kind of recurring pattern is like once I started dating, there was a big chunk of time where I didn't where I just could not date because I felt so much security. I felt so much better being in a relationship because um, you know, able-bodied people did respect me a lot more for having an able-bodied girlfriend, for just having and even it wasn't just peers; it was adults. They're like, "Oh, like good for you, like you have a girlfriend, way to go! You're one of the normal people."
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had a couple different relationships. Um, I remember I broke up with the first girlfriend and like man 2 weeks later I was already on to the next one. Total and it was a total rebound and man this girl was a lot younger and I was just I wasn't a terrible person to her but like we only dated for 3 weeks and I totally messed with her emotions. Not even gonna lie about that. And I had one girlfriend who was also a cheerleader. I dated a cheerleader. I dated like a really popular cheerleader, and I had a crush on her for 2 years. I remember like we went on a walk and I did the whole like yawn, arm. Yeah, I was like that move really works. And I remember the first time we kissed, and I had just gotten my lip ring at that point. I was about 17 years old, and 17 or 18, and I remember thinking I was like, oh my god, I'm kissing Sarah Martinez. Oh my god. And then I remember I was like, and she's really kissing me back. And so for 2 weeks, it was just like I was like floating on a cloud. I was like, I finally got her. After 2 years of a crush, I got her.
Triumph.
And then her mom basically stepped in and like made us break up and said she didn't want her daughter dating a guy in a wheelchair. And I was kind of floored by that. And then I got into a very serious relationship when I was 18, and I dated a girl for a little over a year, and we were pretty much engaged. I don't think we ever officially got engaged, but like we knew we wanted to marry each other. And I went into pastoral school, and in the pastoral school I went into like the first year you're not allowed to date, so we broke up and we never really got back together. And I just remember really struggling with that, and I'm actually really glad that it didn't happen because getting married at 19 would have been stupid.
It's stupid for able-bodied people in a lot of cases, let alone somebody who doesn't have money or.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I'm not gonna say that we weren't serious about each other, but there was so much we didn't know. There was so much more growing up. Like I'm a completely different person than I was at 19, and she's changed a lot too. And I think she's happy now, but it was really hard because I mean more than anything I was just trying to build. I was trying to build a family, and I see that a lot with crippled brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
I see that a lot with people in general. Is the relationship becomes more about building the life that you really want instead of the life that you have, and kind of sharing that life with somebody, and it takes a lot of work. So I didn't really date for about 8 years. I mean, I've had like a lot of kind of, as you said, emotionships. I had like was involved with like, very long distance relationships, like a Norwegian model for a little bit. Man, that girl had me. And then fell for a good friend of mine in South Africa, and that was a bit of a heartbreak. You know, I tried the eHarmony thing because somebody kind of guilt tripped me into it, and
It wasn't me, folks.
it was not him. It's not him. And that was a mess. And so, really, over the last 2 years, I really did a lot of hard work emotionally. I started taking my mental health very seriously. I started taking my physical health as seriously as I could. I started fighting through and really starting to deal with my eating disorder. And I actually met a wonderful woman through this show, and she's coming here this weekend. And man, it's so hard. It's hard to deal with a lot of insecurities. I kind of find myself almost trying to like sabotage the relationship because we're just like, you don't know how hard this is gonna be. You don't know how hard this is gonna be. Like I'm gonna be poor forever.
I noticed that I tend to do that also, just because I know how hard it is, and I recognize that they don't know how hard it is.
Yeah, because
So I'm like, okay.
yeah, I'm sure you kind of deal with this, but I definitely deal with the mindset at times where like I know that I'm a good looking guy, and hopefully you know I have a good personality and people like me. I mean, I've even had fans of the show like you're really cute. That I'm like, ooh. But I definitely have to deal with this broken mindset in my head where I still look at anyone who dates me as like they're doing me some sort of favor.
Right.
And it's so hard as a 26-year-old man to like not think like that, because I'm like, you're not 13 anymore. Like you're a different, you're a different man. And so it's a lot of work for me, and I have to be very honest with myself and like have a lot of communication. And it's been a learning experience. And I guess I just want to end with just saying that don't hold on to the ideal of a relationship too tightly. Obviously, have dreams and have things you want, but they don't fix the heart problems. In fact, they kind of show you more about the problems that you've always had, and it doesn't fix the things that you want to. And able-bodied people don't just magically accept you for the most part. Sure, they'll be happy for you, but you still have to work with all those things.
I would also say for anyone really, but especially for the crippled community, don't make a relationship your life. Make a relationship part of your life that you can share with other people.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be all consuming like I see a lot of our brothers and sisters doing.
Yeah, and I mean, I see able-bodied people do that too, but I think that it's hard to have that golden carrot dangled in front of you that's like this one, like there's this thing that's going to make my life stable, that's going to, make my life worth getting up in the morning. Because like you can't build relationships like that. You just can't, and it's hard. I know I was talking to you, briefly about just how I had a job offer that would have got me off SSI, but I physically just couldn't do it. And man, it's hard. It's hard to have something that you really feels like is going to fix everything. But with anything, there's just hard work, and um, you can't. You really have to be a whole person to date healthy, like in a healthy way.
I would definitely agree.
I feel like I've rambled too much. I've ranted. I've raved. I apologize if I've offended anybody. Just know that CJ's not perfect.
We all have our days.
Yeah. Hopefully this has been beneficial to you. So keep in mind that you can contact us and share your stories of dating. Share your stories. Share any story you want, or just email us just because you want to email us at cerebralconversations@gmail.com. Um, you can also check out my personal blog, The Running Search, at cjcampbell.tumblr.com. How can they get hold of you?
On Facebook at Ron Jackson.
And you can check out and like our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/cerebralconversations. We're always posting really cool stuff like that. And we have a Twitter handle.
Yes, we do.
Did you know that we have a Twitter handle?
I knew we had a handle.
We all hashtag and whatnot.
Yes.
That is at Cerebral Convos. So, we will continue our conversation on love, sex, and dating. Until next time, keep it cerebral.
Peace.